Hi everybody, Cheryl and Lady coming to you from the Ladies Garden and Home, and today we're going to talk about succession planting, second waves, and seed starting for the fall. So I hope you join us. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is sowing our fall vegetables, things like our brassicas, cabbage, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, that kind of thing. Also things that, the things that like cooler weather but take longer to grow. It's too hot to start them outside, so it's better to start them inside, just as you would during the winter months when you are starting your summer crops inside. The next thing I want to talk about is succession sowing. So last week the peas that were on this trellis were really on their way out, and I had already transplanted in the middle of the peas this cantaloupe that I started back in March. So I transplanted this out in the middle of June, and then just a few days ago I just pulled the peas by cutting them off at the base. Then there were peas going up this old dead hibiscus plant. Also in the middle of June, I direct seeded some sugar baby watermelon with the idea of this being a pretty fast grower, but it will be able to grow up and trellis along the same place that the peas were. In early spring, I had radishes in here, and now I have 2 patio tomatoes, an unusual looking variety, and I have a little tiny marigold in there. It's a dwarf variety, so it won't get too big. And also in March, April, and May, I had spinach here. When it went to seed, I put in basil, all different kinds of basil. I've got cinnamon basil, holy basil. I put these patio tomatoes in as well. Italian flat leaf, purple opal basil, lemon basil, and sweet Thai basil. If you watch my channel, you know I love my green stalk, and I especially love growing my leafy greens in here. But this red oak leaf lettuce, this escarole, these are all bolting now and going to seed. And although I do like this red oak leaf lettuce because I don't find it gets bitter when it bolts, and so I'm still eating off of it, when I pull these, it's going to be time to put in some basil in the pockets and some marigolds. So I have these seedlings ready. I had started these from seed, and they're saying hello to each other. Hello. I'm taking your place. Oh, say it's not so. I started these fava beans back in March, and they flowered and they put their pods on, and I harvested what I think is the last of them, and so these are going to get pulled. I'm going to take these cages out just to give more room, and as you can see, I've got tomato plants growing. Like here's a San Marzano plant. Putting the fava beans in March really allowed me to get an early harvest out of this space rather than just waiting till it was time for me to put the tomatoes in. These peas are growing up right around some cucumber plants. So I planted these peas, this was my second wave of peas, about 3 or 4 weeks after the first one that went out in March, mid-March. So this must have been mid-April. And the peas matured, but I had left space in the middle for cucumber plants. And as you can see, the cucumber is growing up the trellis. It's not really in too much competition with the peas, and the peas will be out soon anyway. So there'll be plenty of room for the cucumbers to grow. There is a wide variety of plants that you can start from seed outdoors right now too and get a second wave, as it were. These cabbages are, they're starting to look really nice. They're getting ready to be harvested, and when I do, I'm going to be planting some cucumbers directly from seed and some bush beans directly from seed. And if you know when your first frost date is and you count back and you've got enough room for some of these quicker growing varieties, it's a great way to utilize the space once the cabbages come out and before you get in your cool weather crops. For these, you want varieties that are rather quick maturing, and you can always check the back of your packet of seeds and see what the date to maturity is. For example, I just planted last week some corn. I know I have about 120 days to my average at the time, my average first frost date, and being that the variety was an 84-day variety, I said, well, I've got some time. So check your packet and also know when your first frost date is. Remember, it's an average, but all you have to do is Google it and put your zip code in, and it should pop right up. But here's a good example of some of the quicker growing types of vegetables and flowers that you could be sowing directly in the ground right now. Things like cucumbers, basil. You still have time for basil. At least you should, because basil in the heat grows pretty rapidly. Things like bush beans, even sunflowers, cosmos, zinnias. Beets are good because they can tolerate the heat and also move into the fall and the cooler weather. In fact, I even overwintered some beets. Not that they came out great, but they sprouted in the spring and I got seeds from them. But you can put beets in. Corn, you can do corn like I just said, some quicker growing varieties. Some things that I wouldn't plant right now are things like carrots. I find it's too hot right now for them to germinate, so I will wait until my garlic comes out and I'll probably plant in some of those spaces some carrot seeds. Also lettuce. Lettuce grows very rapidly this time of year, but it also goes to flower very rapidly. So you lose that good flavor of lettuce this time of year. Also radishes. They get very, very spicy hot, which I'm not particularly fond of. So I'll wait till the cooler weather to plant some radishes as well. And of course spinach. That's just going to also go to seed. It'll bolt on you, in other words. And so I'm just going to wait on those. And as things start coming out of the garden, things will start going into the garden. And so it's time really to think ahead to the fall and get those seeds started. And it's time to really keep an eye out where spots become available in the garden. Either have something that you're going to put in from seed or a seedling, and just keep that ground being used by either vegetables or flowers, because otherwise just weeds are going to take over. If you follow me, you know I like to garden year-round, so I hope you check out some of my winter gardening videos if you're interested in that. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, and I hope you subscribe and join our growing community, which in the last month has really started to grow. So I want to thank all of my subscribers. And from the Ladies Garden Home, enjoy your gardening journey. Bye! Lady's hot and she wants to say goodbye now.